What up, nation? Welcome to another edition of the WiseTake NBA Wise Stream. CK013 here. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013. And I, of course, am from the WiseTake Nation, which you can find on the social media platforms listed above. We are a premium DFS content provider as well as a community designed to help make you a better DFS player. If you are ready to take a game to the next level, you can check us out at WiseTake.com. Check out our projections, cheat sheets, articles, monthly memberships, or higher, get you into our Slack chat. But at the very least, just subscribe to the channel. Make sure you don't miss out on any of the free content we do Monday through Friday. We rock with the NBA Wise Stream, our flagship show. It'll be 1 hour with myself, going game by game with you guys, reviewing our projections. And of course, we will bring Pauly D on the second hour. We also bring on some guests occasionally. So it's a good time making sure that you are kept up to date with the latest news, because NBA DFS is all about reacting, getting that news, reacting properly, and doing dirties. Doing dirties to the neighbor before the neighbor does dirty to you. That's how we do. But y'all know that because I've said that. So if you are new to the channel, subscribe, welcome. We do all kinds of DFS sports. Our main sports, of course, MLB, the big three, MLB, NFL, and NBA. But we do PGA. We've got esports. We've got a bunch. NASCAR is one of our more popular shows lately. So hit the notifications bell. Subscribe. Don't miss out. And if you haven't already, please hit that like button, guys. The like button goes a long way. The like button allows us to continue to do the free content, and we like to do it for free. To keep in touch with the nation. So we appreciate you. Appreciate y'all for being here. A lot of you guys have been great at hitting the like button and consistently showing up. And it's been awesome. And we have a wild slate today. We have a lot to talk about. It's going to be a fun one, but it's going to be a wild one. And to be honest with you, NBA over the last week has been a little more unpredictable than usual. It's been a little bit more variance. And that's going to happen at this point in the season. You got teams who finally got permission to basically dog it. It's not that they're trying to dog it, but trying to get some of the younger guys some opportunity to play, trying to get them an opportunity to get looked at. So that's the situation at hand. It is what it is. But we have some great contests going today. I know on DraftKings we have the $4. I got about 50 teams in that, and then I'm playing my usual. So in total, I'm having about 180 teams, somewhere between 180 to 200. And there's a lot of different ways to go. Stars and Scrubs is looking like the chalk build, and understandably so. If you can afford to get guys like Luka, if you can afford to get guys like Giannis, whoever, and you're going to be able to with all the value we have from Boston alone, let alone the other spots, then why wouldn't you? So that's kind of the situation at hand. With that said, we got a lot to cover. We got a lot to cover, so let's go ahead and get rolling. Jason, I see you in the chat. Jason, I'm rolling Cavs value for tonight. Don't disagree, man. Sexton, a lot of these guys, we'll get to that game, but they've looked really good in that last one, right? Jason says you can build pretty much whatever after you start with like 2 or 3 Cavs in a good spot. Yeah, no, I agree, but it's not just them, right? There's them, there's the Boston side. Obviously, the Boston side, we need the starting lineup. We need to figure out rotations, but there's a lot. I agree. I think that the Cavs value does look fine, and Boston's defense is going to struggle significantly compared to what we're used to. They actually usually have a decent defense when they're fully healthy because of guys like Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, but we'll have to wait and see. It looks like Tatum is actually probable after them saying they said he didn't travel with the team, but I guess with circumstances being where they were, where everybody else getting hurt, they just told him like, bro, we need you. You have to come play. So I guess that's what happened, right? I don't really have any other explanation on that. XXZ3LXX. First thing I did was stack Cavs, Jason. I get it. I'm with y'all. Like I said, I don't disagree. GQ Rock 007. What's up, bro? Good to see you again, man. Glad to see the usuals. Always glad to see new names and new faces. Like to see it all. Chris Tatri says Chicago, Minnesota, Washington, Portland. Yeah, there's some good games. Those are definitely 2 of them. I mean, the Washington-Portland game and the New Orleans Mavericks game. I mean, really off the last 3. From the 8 o'clock game, which is Chicago, Minnesota, the 8:30 game. No, it's 9:30. 9:30 game, New Orleans and Dallas, and then, of course, the 10 o'clock game, Washington-Portland. All very good games. All have totals that have risen since we did the early look. And then the other games, there's a lot of low total games out there, which means there'll be a lot of low ownership in those games out there. So a lot to get through. We're going to go ahead and jump in here, do what we do. I'll be popping back into the chat as we go through some of these games. I'll do a couple games at a time, then pop in there. GQ Rock 007. Valentine looking good from Chicago. I agree. I do feel like we got a little lucky in that last one. He only got 21 minutes. He got there because the usage has been awesome, and he's certainly viable again today, but I was disappointed to see he only got 21 minutes, even though he smashed for us. I'm in price. MG says, I love when CK says G Rock 007. Well, if G Rock keeps coming, I'll keep saying it. There you go. We drop 7s and do dirties here, for those who don't know. Some of you guys are newer. You don't know about dropping 7s, doing dirties, but you're getting the idea now. You've been here long enough, I think. You're starting to get the idea. With that said, guys, please hit the like button. Those of you who are joining up a little late and missed it, I'll be saying that periodically throughout the show. Not because I want to be annoying. Not that I mind being annoying, but not that I want to be annoying. It's because the likes, they help us out. They go a long way. Holla. Let's get into this. All right, first game, we've got the Indiana Pacers visiting the Milwaukee Bucks. We've got a 222 total. The Pacers are currently 10.5-point underdogs on the road. Opened up at 11, so it's gone down half a point in their favor. We did just get some news literally as we went live, as we often do. Victor Oladipo has been ruled out, so I'm going to go ahead and make some adjustments here to reflect that change. Obviously, that's going to increase the usage on the surrounding starters, which is good for a guy like Malcolm Brogdon, who's been playing a lot of minutes as is. So I actually do like that situation for him. I'm going to adjust his minutes. I'll give Sabonis a little something too. TJ Warren, I'll give another boost as we're doing this. Obviously, Aaron Holiday, the Holiday brothers. Let's take a look and see what they've been doing while we are here. So I'm going to pull them up because Oladipo missed the last game as well. So we should have a pretty good sample on which way they went. They played San Antonio in a close game. Let me see. Aaron Holiday. Aaron Holiday did get 35 minutes. That's kind of interesting. His brother got 21. McConnell's was down. Doug McDermott got some run. But Sabonis played about 35. TJ Warren played 39 minutes in that game. So definitely some interesting things. I guess we'll give Holiday, I don't want to necessarily give him another 35 because they can really swing that around, but we'll give him some. Give some to Dougie McBuckets. Sumner did get some run as well. Edmund Sumner, who's been hurt a lot, man. That dude's been hurt a lot. Like a lot. Where we at with you? He only got 12 minutes, so that's something minor, but why not? So as this goes through and updates, we will take a look. It looks like a lot of it has. So TJ Warren looking a little bit stronger. Again, like I am aggressive yet conservative. I say that because aggressive in that 37 minutes to project for a player in the NBA is a lot. Conservative in that lately he's been playing 37, 38, 39 minutes. So this is on the lower end of what he's been doing. Obviously, we don't want to judge by small samples, but again, it's been a few games now, and they're starting to play some of these guys a little bit more, and it makes sense. Just seems like they have a bigger need for this stuff. So with that said, I think TJ Warren just became stronger. Malcolm Brogdon I liked already. It's revenge. It's not really about that for me. It's more about the price and Oladipo being out. I expect the usage to be a little bit better. Aaron Holiday on FanDuel, you can see he just popped up to the top here, being that he's so cheap. Again, I don't necessarily want to just assume that he's definitely going to get those same minutes. So let me just double check a couple things. But it kind of makes sense when Oladipo is out. Then the game before that, he played 15. So that's probably a little too aggressive. Let's lower him a little bit to something a little more reasonable. So that should change here in a second. Make some adjustments right out the gate. First game. Get the news right at lock. So going back to it, TJ Warren, Malcolm Brogdon. You know, one thing I noticed is it seems like stars and scrubs is going to be a popular approach, and I'm with that. There's a lot of good stars, a lot of good scrubs, all that good fun stuff. But I also think there's a case for the mid-tier. There are a lot of mid-tier plays. Even right here in this game on this team with Malcolm Brogdon, TJ Warren, even Miles Turner, if you want to consider that. As far as the spend-ups go, I think Sabonis' price has come down to something kind of reasonable. Foul trouble could be a thing when Giannis is on the court, but if this game does stay closer than the spread indicates, you would think Sabonis has a big part in that. So I am good with him. In general, Aaron Holiday still projecting well for us on FanDuel. My concern, of course, is I don't think the usage is as high as it was earlier in the season, but dirty on your own. On the Milwaukee side, we know George Hill is out. Everybody else should be playing. at least their usual guys. So DiVincenzo looks like an interesting value play for us as well. We got him at about 26 minutes. Eric Bledsoe's minutes have been way down. We talked about that earlier. His price has come way down, but his minutes have been down. His performance has been down. At some point, it's going to correct itself. Is it going to be here against Brogdon? I'm not sure, but it certainly could be. It's certainly a viable to think that would be something that would happen. So if you want to take some shots, I'm fine, but it's kind of hard to do when you look at his track record. Chris Middleton's price is pretty interesting. He was playing about 33 minutes or so. Of course, he got hurt. So I'm afraid they're going to baby him the rest of the way, but we'll have to wait and see. We'll have money to be able to afford Giannis if you want to. So I got no, you know what it is with Giannis. If the game is close, he'll get his minutes. If not, you're going to have to hope he does a lot in a little bit. That's just how it goes. One thing I did not discuss in this is the schedule. And both teams are working with a day off. It's a 4-6 stretch for Milwaukee, but both teams working with a day off. Nothing crazy there. Let's go on to the next game, and then I'll pop into the chat, take a little break. We got Oklahoma City visiting the Detroit Pistons. Man, who's left for the Pistons, man? Who is left? We have a 209.5 total, down from 214, as if 214 wasn't low enough. It is now 209.5. Detroit is very, very slow, and OKC is not much faster. OKC is favored by 8.5. That opened up at 7, and they're up to 8.5. It's a back end of a back-to-back for Oklahoma City. Detroit has had 2 days off. They're just really bad. There wasn't a ton from the OKC side that stood out to me. I mean, I think the ownership on all these guys is going to be really low. I think Gallo's price is interesting, especially on FanDuel at 5.9. Adams a little bit more interesting on FanDuel at 6K. I will say that Detroit is just like Minnesota. They've been horrendous. Since getting rid of Drummond, they've been horrendous against center. So this is a matchup where Adams can really just do whatever he wants. Now, if the game gets ugly or something, maybe it's Noel who gets that run. But this is certainly a really good spot for a center. The problem is the slate is somewhat big. We have a lot of good centers in a lot of good spots. But again, low ownership, if that's what you're looking for, some mid-tier abilities, I'm okay with it. But you got, Chris Paul, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Dennis Schroeder. They're all viable. They're all going to be very low owned. It's just really hard to get excited about the OKC side of this game. On the other side, we got the Oklahoma City Thunder. It's value city, and it could get a lot worse. If Brandon Knight plays, I'm interested. Now, I'm a little concerned with the minutes because I know he's nursing a knee injury. Oh, it's a quadriceps strain. So he's got a quad strain. It's not his knee. My apologies. He's played 25 minutes in 3 straight games. And since he's been playing on his team, his usage has been phenomenal. 22, 24, 28, and 31 are his usage rates over the last 4 games. And again, he's played 3 straight games with 25 minutes. He's taking plenty of shots. He's making the shots. He's taking threes, making threes, getting assists. But how bad is his quad injury? Even if he does play, how bad is his quad injury? There's some variables we don't know. I heard Detroit did just pick up Jordan McRae off waivers. Not sure if he's available today, but I know he was picked up off waivers. So I guess that'll something that'll help. But remember, Derrick Rose is out. Luke Kennard's out. Bruce Brown is out. They got nobody. Who's going to play point guard? If Brandon Knight gets ruled out, we're looking at Jordan Bone, I think, getting a lot of run. Maybe we see Langston Galloway play some point guard. Dare I say Svi gets some point guard run. I'm not really sure. So we'll have to wait and see. But if Brandon Knight does play, I am kind of interested in him. Just a little concerned about, can he handle a full 30-something minutes? We haven't projected for over 30-something minutes. Can he handle that? That has me on the fence. But if he does, if he is good to go and he starts and we think that he's getting full run, I do like him quite a bit. However, we have another point guard that I really like in the late game. We'll get to that. You could probably guess who it is. But Svi for value, we have value everywhere. It's never exciting to play Svi Mihajlovic over everybody else. But you got to remember, with all these injuries, guys got to step it up. Christian Wood, the price is elevated, but the minutes have looked good. I would assume they're going to rely on him heavily, right? Guys got to step up. They don't have their usual players that kind of take charge. Even with Derrick Rose gone, that's a massive usage player for this team out. So Brandon Knight, if he's in, I'm interested in. Christian Wood, I'm actually interested in. Even if this game gets ugly, I'm just concerned they don't have enough bodies at this point. They may have to just leave him on the court. Tristan Thompson just got ruled out, so looks like we're back to the Larry Nance deal. Larry Nance and Kevin Porter Jr. deal. No Tristan Thompson. And I think that might be the next game, matter of fact. So just in time, let me pop in the chat real quick. Say what's up to the nation. Say what's up to the nation. GQ Rock 007. I ain't going nowhere else. That's what I'm talking about. Appreciate you. MG, CK Shave. Yeah, it was time. It was about time. I don't like to shave. So I'll shave and I don't even fully shave. I use the buzzer thing, but I'll let it go for a week or two. And when it gets too long though, I can't deal with that shit. I start picking at it. I start pulling hairs on my face, and I can't deal with that shit. The wife likes the beard. She likes when I have a little bit of something on my face, but I just can't. So in order to not have to shave every single day, I'll shave once every 1 or 2 weeks, let the shit grow, fix. But to be honest with you, I've had some bad luck with injuries. The Podal situation, I got burnt twice by that, even though the first one wasn't an injury. I've had some bad luck with injuries, so it's always good to kind of clean the slate. You know what I'm saying? Fresh start. But it'll be back. I ain't shaving for a while, so it'll be back. It'll be growing slowly. Baby face CK, right? All day. MG says, watch out, Gallinari may sit. It's possible. On back-to-backs, he has sit. He has sit quite a bit. So on back-to-back, it is something to keep an eye out for. At this point, I would assume he's going to go. I feel like they would have told us already by now, but definitely, keep an eye out for that. And if that happens, like MG says, if Gallinari does sit, I think that would make me like Schroeder more. And the other guys too, Adams too, Paul too, Gilgeous-Alexander too, but Schroeder would be the main bad factor because he should get more minutes from that, in addition to the usage. Juice, what's up, Juice? He says, how's it going, Nation, or what have I missed so far? Not too much, man. We're only on the second game, just taking a little break to check in with the Nation and talk. I think that the bulk of everybody's ownership is coming up. We did talk about the Milwaukee game. I thought that Brogdon, Warren, all these guys are interesting. We know that, what's his name? Victor Oladipo has been ruled out. We got that news as soon as we went live. Arizona Drama says, what's up? What's up, Drama? What's going on, bro? Tristan Thompson ruled out. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We will make that update next. GQ Rock 007. Do you have more luck with or without the beard? Yo, it's different, man. That's why I like to switch it up. I'll be on a winning streak with the beard, so I won't touch the beard. As soon as shit gets wrong, as soon as shit goes funky, shave the beard. And from then on, I just kind of let it grow as a new streak. Just new beginnings is what it's all about, right? New beginnings. Arizona Drama Harris and Rondé got nothing. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it happens, bro. That's one thing. That's the hardest thing to predict in the NBA is coaches. The coaches, obviously they see things from a different perspective. They see things at practice we don't see, that we don't know about the personal relationships that take place or business relationships, whatever you want to say. That's one of the hardest things to predict. If you're just joining us, please hit that like button. If you haven't already, the likes go a long way. Really, really help us out. So if you can hit that like button for those of you that just rolled in here, much appreciated. James says, what's the word on Woods? Stuck at work till lock. Oh, that is not the place that you want to be. That's where I am, but this is what I do for work, so it's a little better. But being at work till lock is tough. We got you though, bro. We got you, James. Just stay tuned with the show. Christian Wood so far is expected to play. We haven't heard anything. I know he's questionable, but I think he's leaning more towards probable, but we haven't heard anything official. Hopefully, if we get that news, we get it here on the show, whether it be now or an hour or two, and we're able to, do all that. You know what I mean? Arizona Drama says, who's out tonight? I just got home off of work. Fill me in. Okay, so as far as what we got so far, we've got, we just heard Oladipo's out. Tristan Thompson is out. The rest will cover as we go. But as far as the games we've covered so far, those are the guys that are out. YouTube chat is speculating about Gallinari, which I understand why, because in the past he has sat on back-to-back. So I definitely understand. Again, normally we would have heard by now. I know last time they sat him, he was already in the injury report to start the day. But don't be surprised if that information rolls in, because in the past he has sat on back-to-backs. In the past. We'll have to wait and see. Adam Ballack says, your hat's crooked, bro. No, I don't think so. No, my hat's not crooked, bro. I think your eye's crooked. Just kidding. I don't give a fuck, man. I just put this shit on my head every day. I don't give a damn. You know what I mean? I got long ass hair, bro. I got the long hair, I'm not letting the locks flow all the time. It's distracting. When I have the hair down and I have the hair out, people get distracted. They see it, they visualize it, and it takes the attention off the message that we're trying to give. You know what I mean? Just fucking with you. But appreciate you, Adam, for coming hanging out with us, man. Monster Marv, Reed. Yeah, Reed did the dirty. Pauly was real big on Reed. I think I had about 20%. Wasn't enough. Initially, our projections liked him a lot. I lowered him like a dumbass. myself, but the projections did like him. I was a little concerned about foul trouble, but our boy Aaron Cameron, what's up? WiseTake Nation OG's been with us for a long time. James says, played last time against Sac with the same sprained ankle, so you was assuming the same. Yeah, no, agreed, pretty much. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Let's keep things rolling. I appreciate every one of y'all, man. I appreciate every one of y'all. It makes the show a lot. It makes us a lot easier when y'all interacting and all that stuff. We got the Boston Celtics visiting the Cleveland Cavaliers. So again, this is one of those games that we're gonna have to pay real close attention to. These teams are both pretty thin at this point. We have a 216 total, which isn't all that exciting, but we have a lot of cheap players, which kind of counteracts that. Boston opened up -2. They're up to -3.5 at this point because Jason Tatum, who they said Jason Tatum didn't even travel with the team. I got the wrong team up here. It's supposed to be Boston. Boston is the road team. But evidently, then they said he was probable. So I'm assuming that has something to do with the situation. As you can see, if you don't freak out when you look at the minutes I have projected here. The reason I have them projected for so many minutes is because I had to, we do our calculations to figure out the situation. So Tatum's point per minute is massive with all these guys out. Obviously, it's not a huge sample, but we can go over it, matter of fact. Let's do this. Take off Gordon. No Kemba. No Jaylen Brown. Is that it? I feel like they're missing even more, but is it just those? I mean, that's enough, right? That's pretty much their whole fucking starting lineup. Jason Tatum, 295.9 minute sample so far. He's got a 39.7% usage rate. 1.45 fantasy points per minute. 1.45 fantasy points per minute. In a really good matchup against a bad defense. I would assume they're going to run the entire offense through him. So he's your first roadblock. Even with this projection, I still wasn't getting a ton of him. I'm probably going to do what I have to do to kind of raise him even more. Matter of fact, I'll tell you exactly what I was getting to him. On the early, I was getting around 38%, and I'm honestly comfortable with that. We have a lot of really good studs in the late games. I don't want to be too vested in these early ones outside of the value because I do like the late games, but you understand the situation. Potentially Daniel Tice plays more minutes today. He makes for a decent option at power forward on FanDuel, center on DraftKings. Marcus Smart, assuming he's there, he fouled out of the game yesterday. I heard he got into a little thing, tried to go after a ref. I haven't heard about any kind of suspension, so I think he's going to play a lot of point guard. I think he's going to get all the minutes he can handle. I think he's fine. I'm not getting nearly as much of him as I am of Tatum. Then after that, that's where things get interesting, right? Brand Wanamaker is projecting to be popular. Even under these circumstances, Wanamaker is showing an 18.7% usage rate, which isn't bad for his price, with a 0.83 fantasy points per minute. So what he comes down to for me is minutes. He did play pretty good minutes last night, 29, I think it was. Hold on. I'll tell you exactly what it was. 29 minutes last night. Usage rate was 15.5%. He had 4 steals, had 5 fouls. So maybe he would have gotten more had he not had 5 fouls. Again, that was an overtime game. But Kemba did play, 20-something minutes. Gordon Hayward played some. Jaylen Brown played a good amount before he got hurt. So he's a low usage player as chalk is never exciting. But again, you can't help but assume that his usage is going to go up at least a little bit. Where we are is the minutes. If he's going to get 26 minutes, 27 minutes, then it's not really worth it, right? Who cares? But in this particular situation, it's hard to envision him. He does get a 2.5% usage increase with all these people out. So he's going to be popular. You guys got to make a decision on that. I'm trying to, if I do go underweight, I need to justify it somehow. And I think the justification is, number one, he's popular. And number two, he's typically a low usage player. But we're not just missing Kemba. We're missing Kemba, Jaylen Brown, and Gordon Hayward. So I do actually think that he's going to be used a little bit more. And there's other players here. I mean, Javonte Green's been a much better point per minute type player. Just don't know how many minutes he's going to get. Grant Williams was a player I was prepared to load up on if Tatum was out, but Tatum is not out. Tatum is in. So a lot to navigate through here. These guys are going to get opportunities they don't normally get. Somebody else is going to have to step up besides Tatum. Is it going to be Tice? Is it going to be Smart? Wanamaker? Cantor has been getting a little bit more run. Robert Williams has been back. He's been playing small minutes, but he's back. Cantor was the one that shows complete point per minute dominance and usage, but is he going to stay on the court? That's the problem. On the Cleveland side, Colin Sexton went absolutely nuts last game. Darius Garland is out once again. Sexton got 39 minutes with a 25.2% usage rate, took 17 shots and hit 11 of them. So he shot really well. 4 for 6 from 3. Had 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals. 32 actual points. That was a bulk of his production. That makes me a little bit nervous when you're relying on efficiency with a player, but not nervous enough to where I don't think I want some, right? I still want some. Darius Garland is still out. I still think he's going to get a ridiculous amount of minutes. And that's really the story of this whole Cavs team, or at least for some of them. Tristan Thompson, we need to remove. He is now out, which means I'm going to raise the minutes on Larry Nance. Give it a second to populate. Give it a second to populate. Let's go. Okay. Thompson, we removed. Cedi Osman, also a player that I have to raise the minutes on at this point. Take a wait and see approach. Yeah, it's hard to envision Osman not getting like 35 minutes or so. He's just a shitty player. I just can't stand playing guys that I think suck. But you know what? In certain circumstances, you got to do what you got to do. We'll raise him up. Plug it. What could we say? All right, so yeah, Cleveland value. I know a lot of you guys are talking about it in the YouTube chat. I'll be playing Kevin Porter Jr. He barely got there last time, but he still got there. And the most important part is he played monster minutes. Larry Nance's price is elevated on DraftKings. I still like him. Boston is not a team that's been very good against bigs. Nance should be playing 4 in the 5. So I like him. I mean, it's as simple as that. Cleveland just doesn't have a lot of players. This is what we're working with here. Let me resort this so you guys can get a better visual when Thompson gets moved back to the bottom. Let me see here. Just kind of resort that. It'll update in a second. And you'll kind of see when Thompson gets moved down here. There's same story as last time. They're just low on people. Same story with Jason Tatum as well. There we go. So Larry Nance, Cedi Osman, Sexton, Porter. I mean, we got 9 players projected for minutes here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 players projected for minutes. One of them being Matt Mooney. Right? So yeah, what's not to like? Thin teams are a cheat code in DFS. I anticipate Boston playing a little bit faster today because they're missing their main pieces and their defense should hurt a little bit. So I don't see a reason not to get plenty of exposure to the Cleveland players. I just don't see a reason not to. I can't stand playing Osman. I can't stand playing Osman. He's the one player that I got a beef with that it just irks me to play. But Kevin Porter Jr., Larry Nance, Colin Sexton, even Kevin Love, if you want to roll with Kevin Love. I think Kevin Love did get some substantial minutes and played really well. I'm always nervous with him because in my head I always have it that he's going to be the first one off the court if shit goes wrong. But at the same time, he got 32 minutes in that Utah game. Obviously, if you notice, still not as high as, you know, everybody else. Everybody else got monster minutes. But then again, against Indiana, he got 37 minutes. So at a certain point, it's like, why not, right? On FanDuel is where I like him. Kevin Love on FanDuel is hard to say no to. On DraftKings at 7-7 with other really good options, a little bit easier to pass up there, I think. There's a little bit. Just a little bit. But yeah, loading up on Cleveland, I have no issues with it all. No issues with it all. And running it back with some Tatum, why not? Why not? You can also take a shot on Zizic. Zizic played 17 minutes in that game against Utah, for the record. He did terribly. He was just really inefficient. But he's going to play some backup center most likely. So I'll probably raise his minutes a little bit. And I don't want to over-project him because I don't want it giving me fucking, 50, 60% of this asshole. I just want a little bit. That's fair where he is. That's fair. So yeah, load up on Cleveland. I'm fine with it. I got no problems with it. Game should be close. Boston's defense should be a little worse. And their rotations are just really tight right now. Simply put. Ooh, we did just get an update. Danilo Gallinari confirmed playing. So I know everybody was kind of speculating Gallo would sit. He is not going to sit. That's why we do these shows so close to lock so that we make sure we have all the latest information. Ooh, in other news, Jordan McRae available to make his Pistons debut. Bruce Brown has officially been ruled out, by the way, for anyone wondering. But yeah, Jordan McRae available to make his Pistons debut. Suck on 7 sideways. All right, let's go to the next game. I spent a lot of time in this game because I thought it was important. We'll do this next game, then I'll pop into the chat. talk to you guys a little bit. Memphis visiting Brooklyn. We have a 223.5 total. That's down from 225. The Nets opened up -2. They are still at -2. This is one of the games that are very stackable and should have some relatively low ownership. Especially because you got the Cleveland game you got to navigate through. Then you have all those later games with massive totals. Brooklyn, not a very fast team, but Memphis is, and Brooklyn plays terrible defense. This is a back-to-back for Brooklyn. It's a midst of a 4-6 coming off overtime. Really tough part in their schedule. Really, really tough part in the schedule for Brooklyn. Starting with the Memphis side, it's a stackable game. D'Anthony Melton, Kyle Anderson are fine. I prefer Melton. I hate Kyle Anderson. No, I don't hate him. It's not a personal thing. I hate playing him. Much better. John Morant should be pretty low owned. Makes sense for tournaments. Jonas Valanciunas' price has increased on DraftKings, making it tough to reach him. But this is a spot where centers have excelled. And with Brandon Clark out, with what's his name, Jaren Jackson Jr. out, he's the main big they got left. So I anticipate his minutes to be a little more concrete. Not saying he's going to get no 34, 36 every night, but to get to 30 has been a struggle sometimes for him. And I think he should be able to do that. But it's possible this team goes small. They got Gorgie Dieng. They have different ways they can try to go a little smaller. It's hard to get excited about this after talking about some of the other spots. But at the same time, that's going to be the mentality everybody else takes. So again, you have a low-owned game. It's a stackable game. Two teams that don't really play very good defense. You got one team in Memphis that's going to push the pace a little bit. So tournament game, right? Some you reserve for tournaments. On the Brooklyn side, Karis LeVert balled out, played really, really well. Spencer Dinwiddie got benched along with the rest of the starters. That they were getting destroyed last night by Boston. Then Boston lost everyone. They all got hurt. And then Brooklyn just stuck with their second unit guys with LeVert, and then that was it. They just kind of went and did their thing. I like Spencer Dinwiddie for a bounce back here. I'm fine with going back to LeVert, but Dinwiddie didn't play that many minutes last night. He played like 23 minutes. So I think he should be relatively fresh considering it is a back-to-back and a 4-6. So I'm good with him. I don't mind Taurean Prince, especially on FanDuel at 4K. He looks really good over there. Taking a shot on Jared Allen. I think it's more of a DeAndre Jordan game just because I think Joe Val can just really eat Jared Allen shit. So I think it may be more of a DeAndre Jordan game. Chris Chiozza, we have in there for about 19 minutes or so. Chris Chiozza played 21 minutes in that game against Boston. Again, it was overtime. And he got to 21 minutes. And Brooklyn stuck with their second unit. So I'm probably going to lower him just a little bit after looking at the situation. I definitely don't think I want too much of him. It's official that Jason Tatum is officially in, by the way. For anyone who was wondering, if probable's not good enough, he's officially ruled in. There we go. So that's more reasonable for Chiozza. That's why I like to do this, get a visual, and make sure we got shit right. But yeah, Dinwiddie and LeVert are fine. Again, tournament type game. Let's pop in a chat before we go to the next one. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. Let's see here. Charles Walker says, "Yo, I can't get in my Slack." Oh, okay. Number one, hit me up on Twitter, bro. You're doing a thing right now. Is your site membership up to date, Charles? Is your site membership up to date, bro? Check that and get back to me. But email us at slack@wisetake.com and I'll try to look into it for you, man. But before you do that, make sure check the status of your membership. Arizona Drama, any news on Smart? Because I seen earlier he was... Yeah, so to clarify what Arizona Drama is saying, he said any news on Smart because I seen earlier that he was getting possibly suspended. So, yes. So far, we haven't heard anything about a suspension. I know what you mean. He actually has 6 fouls in that game, so he did foul out. I know that he kind of made a break for one of the refs. I kind of seemed like he was going after him, and that's why people were speculating maybe he gets suspended. It's possible. It's possible. We haven't heard anything yet. I would think that if the league was going to do that, they would have done something already. Maybe it comes down tomorrow instead. They just know Boston's so thin. I'm not sure. But as of now, I haven't heard nothing about him getting suspended officially. Solo D's. DZ. I like D's. I like to say C. Solo D's. Wise Nation. Let's go. Dwayne James. What up, CK? Need to get cash and DFS back, man. I missed that dude. He was a true OG. He was, man. He was a lot of fun. But at the end of the day, he said he couldn't do it no more. I hear you. We didn't get rid of him. Door's always open for him. He didn't want to do this no more. So it's not about, it's not about that. I'm here for the people. I will always be here for the people. That's just what I do. This is what I do. This is not what Cash does. Cash got a family. He got a job. He got other obligations. And he elected not to do this no more. But he is a true OG. And there's always a spot for Cash. But in the meantime, he seems pretty happy with things the way they are. But shout out, man. He was a lot of fun, man. A lot of fun. Definitely miss doing shows with him. Aaron Cameron, is Mitchell Robinson playing? He's got a Q tag. Haven't heard anything official on him yet. That is a very good point, though. Let's look into this real quick. Yeah, I haven't heard anything just yet. His minutes have been up, which is awesome. We'll get to that game a little bit later, but we have not heard anything on his status. It's a hamstring injury, sore hamstring. And if he misses, there'll be some value opening up there, too. That's definitely enticing. But real quick, Charles Walker, going back to you, bro. Email me at wisetake.slack.com. You know what? Maybe I can do it from here. Hold on one second. Hold on one second, Charles. Let me see if I can hook you up real quick. Let me see if I can hook you up real quick, man. Give me a second, bro. I'm going to do this. All right, so it should have worked. Charles, you should be good to go, but check your membership status, bro, because if your membership's not up to date, it's going to just boot you out again tomorrow. But I think you should be good for the time being. All right, moving on. I also see Gordon is questionable. Gordon's expected to play. He was on pace to play earlier, so I think we're all anticipating him to play. Mercamil, TDW, Porzingis, and Doncic, and then figure out after that. Yeah, I don't blame you, man. They're in both really, really good spots. Arizona Drama says playing Porzingis is scary when you got Zion on the other side. It works both ways. New Orleans is also terrible against bigs. Ask Naz Reid, right? Monster Marv says looks like McRae can play today. Yeah, it looks like he's gonna make his debut. I don't know. Is he even in the pool? I don't even think he's in the player pool at this point, right? I gotta check that real quick. I'm curious. I gotta check that real quick, guys. I'm just curious myself. Oh, I got 200 teams today. Let's go. We got 200 teams to fill today. Let's do it. Let's get dirty on this one. Trying to get dirty on this one. Jordan. No, he's not in the pool. We're playing him, but that could mess up Brandon Knight, obviously. That could be a shame if like that dude scores all these fantasy points and there's no way for us to get him. Charles, check the Slack, Charles. Let me know if you were able to get up in there. Like I said, man, just check on the status. It may have booted you out if there was an issue with the membership thing. So just check that out, man. But you should be in there at least for the day. And then hit me up. I'll send you a DM. Be on the lookout for that. GQ Rock 007. Since you said you can't stand Osman, watch him go off. I know I'm gonna play him. Don't get me wrong. Like when you're playing DFS, you gotta just put that shit aside and play the guys that are in the best spot. So I'm gonna play him. But I still hate him. I don't have to like him. I don't have to like it. I'll play him but not like it. He'll be the first one I blame though. If he shits the bed and I have a good amount of him, he'll be the first one I blame. But I feel you. Dwayne James, always happens. You play the guy. Yeah, absolutely, bro. Anytime. And that's why I'll never use the word fade. If I'm playing mass multi-entry, there's no reason for me to fade anyone, really. Not intentionally, anyway. Underweight. That's the term, right? Because the minute it's the reverse jinx. The minute you talk shit about someone, that's the day they wake up because they care, right? Add Brooks to the Porzingis and Doncic. Mercamil says, I don't mind Brooks. He's been playing really well. Arizona Drama says LeVert is a steal on FanDuel at $6K. I don't disagree. It's a very, very cheap price. Z3L says, what do you think about Peyton for FanDuel? L's price is really good. The problem, of course, is his minutes. Like the whole Knicks. You don't know who's going to get what. I think he's going to play more minutes, and we're going to get to that game in a second. I think he is going to get more minutes. But that's just speculation at this point. We don't actually know. We saw Julius Randle play 25 minutes in a close game once recently, and now they did it to Elf. Now, I understand they probably wanted RJ Barrett was playing well, and they probably wanted Frank Nitti out there for defense. They were playing Harden and Westbrook. But for Elf to only get 19 out of nowhere, that was some bullshit. Some bullshit. Hit the like button if you haven't already, guys. I'm going to keep this rolling because we still got more games to get to. I like talking to y'all. I like interacting with y'all, so I get distracted. But we got to get through these games. Utah Jazz visiting the New York Knicks. Here we go. On the Utah side, there really wasn't much that I was interested in. Rudy Gobert, especially if regardless, Rudy Gobert is probably one of my better options here. Mike Conley, I don't mind. Knicks don't play fast. They've been really bad against point guards. I think that's why Frank Nitty got so much time last time against Westbrook and Harden. But I'm going to assume they go back to their usual stuff. That Utah is just very unexciting. Donovan Mitchell has some ties here as Pops played for the Mets if you want to do the New York narrative. But I guess Gobert and Conley would be my main two, but on a slate with this many options, it's just I don't see myself getting a ton of any Utah players. So with the Knicks, I don't mind Mitchell Robinson. Assuming that he does play, his minutes have been up. I'm cool with them. Elfrid Payton is the big question on 5'8", as you guys were saying, 5'8" on FanDuel. Our projections like him. If he plays 32 minutes, he should do just fine on FanDuel. On DraftKings, he'd need a little more than that, either to be really efficient or to get more minutes. It's just hard to project. I do think he gets closer to his regular minutes. He's got triple-double upside. I do like Elf on FanDuel. I like Randall on DraftKings. And if you're doing in tournaments, they actually correlate pretty well together for the most part. When the Knicks do play well together, the starting unit, he's the one that typically gets a boost. If Mitch Robinson were to miss, obviously we can consider Taj Gibson, but I think the main person I'd be interested in is Bobby Portis. I like the fact that he's got forward eligibility on DraftKings also, makes it easier to play him. So keep an eye on the Mitch Robinson status, because if he's out, I will be playing some Bobby Portis. So definitely something to keep an eye on. As far as Frank Nitty goes, I assume he's going to go back to his role of not playing all that much. DSJ's still out. But that's if I had to pick who's going to get the minutes today, I think Elf. But that's all I can do is think, because there's no way with the Knicks. There's just no way. Orlando visiting Miami. Let's get through this one last slow game, and then we get into the juicy ones. We've got a 219.5 total. Miami opened up -7. They are still at -7. Both teams are working with a day off. I think Vooch is in a really good spot. Aaron Gordon's expected to play. I know he went through the shoot around. They said they expected him to play, all that fun stuff. Not an exciting game. Both these teams play extremely slow. Both these teams emphasize, or at least attempt to play defense, especially Miami. Just unexciting. I am going to give Aaron Gordon a little bit of a projection boost because he's playing very different now from how he was playing earlier this season. I got him at 40 minutes. That just shows you how bad he was earlier this season. But we want to give him something respectable because I don't want it to not give me any necessarily. So based off how he's played. Now, he's been nursing an injury, so we have to. Is he going to get those 40 minutes again? I'm not sure. I'm not going to over-project him by any stretch. But just something a little bit more reasonable. On FanDuel, he's a much more logical play to me. Like that price tag over there is not nearly as bad in my opinion. So I would be a lot more likely to give him a shot over there than here. Give him a little boost as well. But yeah, Vooch would be my favorite option. I'm okay with Aaron Gordon. Like I said, especially on FanDuel. Oh, I give him a little bit too much of a boost over there. Especially on FanDuel at his price. He's got a really low price over there. After that, it's like with Aaron Gordon back, I'm not really that interested in anyone. If this game can go to overtime, it's the in-state rivalry thing. It can go to overtime, things can get funky, but for the most part, it's mainly Vooch from the Orlando side for me. You can just see it's just a projection thing. They just don't project well. Our projections incorporate game pace, possessions, and these are two teams that play really slow. Hence the 219.5 total, which is actually kind of high for these two teams playing each other, considering. The Miami side, I'm good with Jimmy Buckets. I think Duncan Robinson is an interesting value play. With Tyler Hero out, he's gotten big minutes in a lot of spots. I'm okay with Dragic. Bam is a mediocre play to me. So a lot of mediocre options. But I do genuinely like Jimmy Butler, more so on FanDuel at 7,500. Again, we have so many good spots. We have so many other value plays. I respect the fact that the ownership in this game is going to be low. I respect that. With that said, there's a reason. It's because there's so many other better spots. But if this game happens to stay super competitive, it goes to overtime, then there's going to be there could be some slate winning plays in these types of games. This one, the Brooklyn-Memphis game, picking the right one is key, and avoiding the right one in terms of those other bigger games is also key. Let's keep it rolling, or we're getting into the juicy games at this point. Real juicy games. We got the Chicago Bulls visiting the Minnesota Timberwolves. We have a 231 total, up from 229. That's up 2 points. Minnesota opened up -3. They're down to -2. In terms of the schedule, Chicago working with a day off. Minnesota on the back end of a back-to-back in the midst of a 4-6. Both teams, well, Chicago missing some players, getting some players back. Wendell Carter is in a pretty good spot. Minnesota's been terrible against bigs ever since Cat's been hurt and they made their trades. He's going to be capped from 22 to 24 minutes. In a 24-minute projection on FanDuel, he seems fine. But on DraftKings, I'm not doing it. Satoransky, I think he only got 31 minutes in that last game. I think he would have gotten closer to 33, 34 had he not gotten into foul trouble. I still like Coby White. I know Coby White only played 32 minutes, but the usage was massive on him. I would like to see him start. Maybe I'm being a little too aggressive if he's not going to actually start. So that's something that I got to keep an eye on. But Coby White took... His usage rate since what is this? February 22nd. These are his usage rates. 34.6, 30.9, 30.3, 30.5, 31.2. So yeah, I know he's 6'2". I don't give a damn. I still want to play Coby White. He took 20 shots in that last game. Wasn't even all that efficient. I mean, 8 for 20 is not terrible. 3 for 9 from the 3 though. There's some improvement there. 6 rebounds, 5 assists. I like him. And that was against Dallas. This is going up against a fast-paced team that's even worse defensively. So I do like Coby White in the mid-tier. I'm going to try. I'm not saying, like, as of right now, I'm not really getting... If he starts, I'm going to race him even more. But if things are the way they are, I will probably, I don't know, maybe like 20 to 30%. Seems sufficient. Looks like we're getting some Knicks news now. Reggie Bullock available to play. So maybe we do get that Mitch Robinson news soon. Reggie Bullock available to play, so we'll see. Keep an eye out for that news. But yeah, the issue otherwise, Lauri Markkanen is going to start. He's going to play around 20 minutes. Otto Porter is going to be, his minute limit is raised to 22. So that kind of just sucks. Because they're not playing enough to where we're really interested in them, but they're playing enough to where it could affect some of the other options. So that just sucks. That's where I'm at. Denzel Valentine was min price and played really well for us. We were really big on him. He did the dirty. That was great. We kind of got lucky. He played 21 minutes, but his usage rate was massive. He did shoot pretty efficiently from the field, which is why he was able to hit value. Now he's a little bit more expensive, and we got other people here. So I'm fine taking shots on him. I think he'll be low owned relative to the other value we have. But I'd be lying if I didn't say I wasn't a little nervous about the situation. I like Coby White. Maybe I like him more than I should, considering he only got 32 minutes in that game. But I just love the usage that I'm seeing. If he has one of those games, like he had a game once where he was 13 for 21 from the field. Had 35 actual points. In this last game, and he had a few of those. A couple of them back-to-back. In his last game, he only scored 19. So if there was a game for him to really get a chance to go nuts and do his thing, I would think it's here. Oh, yeah, we got some Knicks news for you. Mitch Robinson and Kevin Knox remain questionable. So, that's the Knicks. They probably don't even know if they're playing. Genuinely. But Chicago is going to be massively paced up. Minnesota has been like a gold mine for DFS. You saw this game go nuts yesterday. So, if you want to like a little bit more in this, I can't blame you. I can't doubt that. On the Minnesota side, Naz Reid balled out yesterday. Shout out to Pauly. Pauly was real big on him. I don't see why he wouldn't ball out today. Chicago, one of the reasons Chicago's been so bad against centers last year and this year, one of the reasons, is Wendell Carter. He's undersized and he's just not good defensively. So Naz Reid could really go ham on him. Foul trouble's been an issue for Naz Reid in the past. He was able to stay out of foul trouble yesterday against New Orleans with Derek Favors and Zion. That's definitely a positive. Can he do it again on a back-to-back? I don't know. On FanDuel, it's definitely worth a shot at 4,500. I don't know why he's 4,500 at power forward. That's just stupid. He's starting at center, and he's 4,500 at power forward on FanDuel. That's just stupid. On DraftKings, I still like him at 5-1. I'll be playing him. I will. I don't love playing bigs on the back end of a back-to-back, but 5-1 is just a little too cheap for a starting guy in a spot in a nut matchup. But watch, today may be the day he gets into foul trouble. Malik Beasley is fine. D'Lo's okay. I'd be more interested in these guys if D'Lo was ruled out. But the Chicago side, I'm a little bit more interested in because that's the side getting paced up. Chicago does not play very fast. Chicago does not. They don't play defense, but they're one of the slower paced teams typically. It's the Minnesota side that's going to make this total what it is and really push the pace. So I'm cool with these guys. I like them even more if we get some players ruled out, maybe like D'Lo or something. We'll have to wait and see. I don't mind D'Lo as a spend up either. But Malik Beasley at 5.3 on FanDuel, I do like. But Naz Reid is really my favorite as of right now. Crazy, right? What a world. What a world. All right, hit that like button if you haven't already. We're going to the New Orleans Pelicans and Dallas Mavericks right quick. This is a 240.5 total and is not even the highest on the board. Isn't that crazy? A 240.5 total and is not even the highest on the board. Mavericks opened up -6. They are back up to -6 after earlier. I know it was down a little bit. I think. Still think so. Going back in it. What? Shit. What we got here? Schedule. That's right. Schedule. So this is a back end of a back-to-back in the midst of a 4-6 for New Orleans. Dallas has had a day off. They're on a 4-6, but they have had a day off. New Orleans also another fantasy goldmine. Second highest total on the board. Dallas doesn't offer much resistance from players like, where their strengths are. I'm good with Williamson. I'm good with Ingram. Their prices have come up a little bit. So, a little uncomfortable. Drew Holiday balled out yesterday. He was the lowest owned of all those dudes. Obviously, he's okay. Similarly to what I said about Minnesota, I'm a little bit more interested in the Dallas side of this, and I think you guys know who the two mainstays are. With that said, I don't want to ignore New Orleans. I'm fine with Zion. I think Brandon Ingram would probably be my favorite at this point, but I do think they're expensive, and we have a lot of other plays to get through in order to get these guys. So it is what it is. Game stack city. I'm always willing to overpay in a game stack. This would be one of those situations. If I'm coming here and just saying fucking game stack, this would be a hard game stack to get Luka Porzingis and these guys. It'd be a tough one with the prices. The pricing got to make sense to a degree. We do have a lot of value, so you can make it work. But just make sure if you're doing that, you like those value pieces you're plugging in around them. Because again, they don't project all that well. That's just the truth. With that said, the pricing is just a little stricter in general outside of the obvious value. On the Dallas side, Luka should be extremely popular today, and for good reason. I'm playing a shit ton of Luka. Why not? He's under 11K on both sides. He's playing against one of the fastest teams in the game. I like Porzingis. I don't often say you could play them together. I think today you can just because of the opponent. They're going to be paced up, so there's going to be so many opportunities. This game has the capability of going through to the moon. And on Dallas, if it gets there, it's got to go through Luka and Porzingis first. New Orleans has been bad against centers as well. Naz Reid went nuts yesterday. Porzingis is in that role today. He's been starting at center. So I do like Luka. Luka I like more because I think he's underpriced. I think Porzingis is overpriced. I just like the matchup. With that, I don't love a ton of anyone. You want to take a shot on Hardaway, or you can. I'm not really feeling it. I only play those guys when one of these guys or both of these guys are out. In the meantime, it's Luka and Porzingis. That's an easy one. Last game on the board. I'll pop in, answer some questions, talk to y'all, and then we'll bring on Pauly D for part 2 of the show. Washington Wizards visiting the Portland Trailblazers. We have a 243 total. This total opened up at 239. It's up to 243. It's risen 4 points. Portland opened up -7.5. They're up to -8. In terms of schedule, it's a back end of a back-to-back in the midst of a 4-6 for Washington. Portland has had a day off, and Damian Lillard is expected to be back. Mo Wagner is a player you're going to have to make a decision on. Obviously, we have him projected for around 25 minutes. Why? Because we've got Thomas Bryant out. Now, Ian Mahinmi was a coach's decision, did not play. But I would think he's going to get some minutes. So I'm actually going to take a look in here. I may update this on the transition and give him some. Not that I'm interested in really playing him much, or at all for that matter. But if I leave Mo Wagner's projection where it is, whatever optimizer you use, if you don't cap him, it's going to give you a shit ton of him. And that makes me a little uneasy. I don't feel great about that. I am going to lower his minutes regardless. Let me see here. I wish he wasn't 3,200 so that we wouldn't be in this position, but I wish for a lot of things that I don't get. But extremely cheap on both sides. I just lowered his minutes. Let's see what he looks like. He's going to get some run. He got like 14 minutes in the last game and did shit with it. Didn't do nothing. He's going to get some run today. There's no doubt. But I think there's a possibility. First of all, foul trouble is a very real possibility for Mo Wagner. Very, very real. Second of all, against Whiteside, he does have upside. I'm admitting that. I also think that they could just give Bertans or Hachimura some run at the 5. I know that they're undersized and maybe not as strong as you need to be to play a guy like Whiteside, but let's be real. They don't have a player on this team that can stop Whiteside. What difference does it make? Maybe we see some Porzingis get more minutes, get some more time in there. Tough. It's a tough sell, man. I mean, again, I'll play some of him. I'll probably have somewhere around 30% or so. Interestingly enough, I thought he was going to be extremely chalky today. And from what I've seen, it doesn't actually seem as though... Oh, no, there, yeah, okay. 40%. Okay, now we're talking. Projected ownership, I'm seeing Mo Wagner, Brad Wanamaker, Luka. That appears to be the mainstay build. I listen, he's 3,200 on DraftKings, and he's forward eligible. It's hard to argue against. My instinct, oh, by the way, Aaron Gordon is officially in. My instinct is to go underweight. That's my instinct on this. But again, you're offering me a player that has gone for 50 at points this season. I don't expect that today, to be clear. But he's done it. He's capable of it. Not to mention, if he does want to shoot from the perimeter, Whiteside cannot cover guys from the perimeter. And he's 3,200 and 3,500. It's a tough sell. It's a very tough sell to go underweight. But we'll see. I'll talk to Pauly. We'll feel it out. As of right now, if you just run it raw and optimize, you're gonna get a shit ton of him. That's just the way things are. I'm actually gonna rerun it now with you guys because I'm curious to see since I lowered him. I think I lowered him a little too far, actually. Oh, yeah. I don't know why I gave him 19.5 for some reason. But let me ask you guys a question. Who do you feel better about? Brad Wanamaker or Mo Wagner? Let me ask you guys that. Who do you feel better about? Mo Wagner or Brad Wanamaker? I'll pop in the chat in a second. Now, enough about the players I'm concerned about. Let's talk about the players I like. I love Shabazz Napier today. Ish Smith is doubtful. Or assuming he's not going to play. I think Napier gets a ton of point guard minutes. They do have Jerome Robinson who can come in and step. Bradley Beal can play some point guard, but I think they give Shabazz a fair shot. I think his price is reasonable. They're playing Portland. This is a revenge spot for him, regardless of whether you think that means something or not. It's there for those who want it. Ignore it for those who don't. Shabazz played 28 minutes against Sacramento. Yesterday, didn't do particularly well, but I like Shabazz. 5K. All he needs to do is go for 30. I think that's definitely something he could do. So yeah, I like him. I like Shabazz a lot. He's one of my favorite plays. I'm good with Bradley Beal. He's obviously expensive. I think the ownership would be really low. I'm concerned about the schedule aspect of this. Again, this being the back end of a back-to-back and a 4 and 6, and they've been across the country for a while now. But this game has the highest total on the board. I'm willing to get some here. I think that there's some things we need to consider with Davis Bertans and Hachimura as well. Wouldn't be surprised if they stepped up and had some bigger games. Yeah, on the break, I'll make some adjustments to the projection. Jerome Robinson, 3,100 for value, especially if you think this game is going to blow out. So there's some options. On the Portland side, we know Damian Lillard is back. I'm not sure what they're going to do with his minutes. If they let him run and do his thing, he's cheap on FanDuel at 9K. 10K on DraftKings, he's all right. But are you playing him over Luka? Are you playing him over Beal? Right now, I would if he was fully healthy. I wouldn't have a problem. I wouldn't even think twice. But not sure what they're going to do with him. Hassan Whiteside in a smash spot, super expensive. I know that you may be anticipating his usage coming down a little bit, but like I said, there is not a single player on Washington that could match up with a guy like Whiteside. Not one. So I do like Whiteside. Him and Porzingis make for interesting spend-ups at the center position for me today. So I'm with it. Game stackable game, no doubt. Obviously, I would think CJ McCollum gets the short end of a stick here. Right? That would make sense. He's overpriced. Dame is back. So the usage should go down. You want to take a shot on Dame? I'm fine. I actually like Trevor Ariza a little bit too. I do like Trevor Ariza. It is what it is. We got some really good games. It's going to be a wild slate. I can't wait to bring Pauly on. And, you know, do the dirt and dirt. All right, good. I asked that question. I'm trying to get it now. Let's see. G-Rock 007, who is your favorite value center, stud, or value? Favorite center, stud, or value. My favorite stud center is probably Whiteside or Porzingis at this point. I like the mid-tier a lot. I do like Naz Reid. My favorite value, I guess, is Mo Wagner. Hate to say it, but I guess so. Charles Walker, good luck. CK, I'm in there. Okay, cool. Do your thing, man. Do your thing. Just hit me up if you get booted out tomorrow, because we got, that's just how that. So just hit me up. I'll work with you a little bit. Arizona Drama says 4,500 for Naz Reid is a steal with big upside, can smash value. Absolutely. How do you feel about Ball tonight? I didn't mention Ball, but I'm fine with him in the game stack. All right, so now I see somebody answered my question. So Darius11 says Wagner. GQ Rock 007 says Wanamaker. MG says I feel like shit about them both, but I'm gonna have a lot. Arizona Drama, Wanamaker just for the fact that Boston got so many injuries. MG, same thing with Valentine. I feel you. Dwayne James, neither CK. They both studs. They both spuds. But if I had to choose one, the Boiler, only because he sees more minutes potentially. You're absolutely right. Dwayne, you're absolutely right. Juice says, can you please post the link to the daily pass before you go? Yeah, I got you. I could post a link in there real quick for the day pass. I'm just going to post a link to our little join page, and you'll see it. You just got to scroll down to the NBA section. Scroll down to NBA, and you'll see the one-day passes available for anyone interested. But, yeah, I could do that for you. No problem. Juice, I got you. Joval or LeVert? From Billy. Oh, that's a good question, man. I mean, on FanDuel, it's very, very hard for me not to say LeVert. On DraftKings, I'd probably lean towards Joval. I got this thing, like, I follow the NBA schedule hard. It's this stuff from the sports betting markets. You pick up on finding teams in mismatched schedules, finding teams that are vulnerable because of travel, all that kind of stuff. So, for that reason, I'm going to go towards the player that is not in the 4 and 6, is not in the back-to-back, and didn't just play in overtime. But on FanDuel, that $6K price for LeVert is kind of ridiculous. But I guess Joe had the short answer. I'm not crazy about either of them, to be honest, though. Just to be clear, Billy. Just to be clear, Billy. All right, guys, we're going to take a little break. Bring on Pauly. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. I see a bunch of you in here. The likes are a little low. Let's hit that like button. Like I said, that's what allows us to continue to do these free shows. And I like talking to y'all, I like hanging out with y'all. So please hit the like button if you haven't already. We're going to take a little break. You don't got to go nowhere. This is going to be the same stream. Just going to go bring on Pauly and, talk some game theory. And more importantly, keep you guys updated with all the news. Make sure you're informed with all the news. Arizona Drama says, thanks for taking the time to go over these games with us. Time to build my lineups. Now only got an hour left. Yep, that's it. Hey, we build our teams at the same time we talk to y'all, man. I got my laptop here. I got you guys on the computer, and we got to build our teams while doing it as well. But it helps. It helps all of us. Romel H, I guess Wagner. I know, right? I guess. That's the best. I agree. That's the best you could do. I guess this guy, that's the best. Best we could do. But don't go nowhere, guys. We'll be right back. Just going to put a little pause screen, bring on Pauly, and we'll continue to drop sevens and do dirties. Don't go nowhere. What up, nation? We are back with part 2 of the NBA Wise Stream. CK013 here once again, joined by the GOAT, the true OG. Y'all know him as Pauly D. Y'all can find him on Twitter at Pauly with 8 Ds. Pauly, what's happening, bro?
Everything, man. This wild slate. You know, large, lots of moving parts. Bunch of news just got dropped. You had said Tristan Thompson, and then you were like, "Oh, Mitch Robinson." But what was the actual Tristan Thompson?
Thompson is out. Yeah. Yeah.
Out too. Okay.
That's so funny. You're right. I totally forgot. I left you hanging on that one. In the process of telling you Thompson was out, we got the Mitchell Robinson news that he is also out. Which, for those of you who don't know, Mitchell Robinson has been ruled out. We'll talk about all that good stuff. But yeah, Thompson is also out, man. So Cleveland is once again a go. They were already a go, but even more so now, I guess.
Yeah.
Dirty style. You know how we do it. With that said, Pauly, it's a wild slate, man. There's a lot, man. We've got mid-tier teams that are extremely thin, like Cleveland. We've got like extreme value in situations like Mo Wagner, the whole Boston team outside of Tatum and Smart. There's a lot, man. I would anticipate Luka Doncic is going to be crazy popular because everybody's going to be able to afford him, and he's playing New Orleans. There's a lot, so much chalk. Yet the slate is big, which means there's going to be a lot of other players going really, really low on under the radar. With that said, give me your overall thoughts on the slate.
You know, there's so much out there. I think getting underweight on the chalk is definitely the way to go. I know that's like, you know, my style normally, but like there's so much today that the probability of the chalk actually being the best play, and even if it is like the likelihood of you winning around that, it's so unlikely that I would say the probability of the chalk not being the optimal is so much higher today. So like, why even go to it? You know, I mean, get some, but I'd say be underweight on the chalk, and getting different is really just going to be the way that you can win like a nice tournament, like the $4 on DraftKings today, which we're all kind of in. You know, mid-tier versus stars and scrubs, balance versus stars and scrubs. Like, I think there's a case for either. We'll see like what else kind of hits before we get to lock, but you know, I would lean towards a more of a balanced build today. Like, you can grab one stud, but I don't think the full stars and scrubs is really the ticket. I'm not in love with like the real cheap value today, like the Mo Wagner, Wanamaker. Like, I think that stuff's all right. But I'm more into stuff like in the 45 to 5,500 range for value, which is more like I get a one stud in my build and just have a bunch of mid-tier stuff. That's like that's where I feel like the best optimal lineups are going to come from. So that's kind of what I'm going to be aiming to do.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. Like, you know, we always talk about getting different. Obviously, in a slate like this, where the slate is kind of big, it's 9 games. It's not like some small slate, and a lot of the ownership is heavily concentrated on a few key players that are really iffy. Brad Wanamaker's usage rate, even without all these guys, is like 18%. It's not terrible, but it's not great. His point per minute average is 0.83.
Right.
So at a certain point, he could do well. He can go for 26, 27, 28, and that's phenomenal. But what if the player you sacrifice playing because you wanted to save money with him goes for 50? Then you're going to be in a little bit of a hole. So it's one of those situations where I'm going to play some of the chalk. I just don't know exactly how much just yet. That's kind of my variable. Like, how underweight do I want to go? I don't think I want to go overweight. I agree with you on that. And again, there's more news coming out. The later the news, the lower the ownership. That's just going to be how it goes. We get more stuff opening up late, give you more and more pivots. With that said, Pauly, talk to me about some of the games you have your eyes on. I know the mid-tier, we'll break it down into tiers like we always do, but talk to me about some of the games that you kind of got your eyes on. Those last three ones look really game stackable. And then, of course, you have the Cleveland-Boston situation where both teams are just extremely thin.
I mean, that's it. You just said it. Those are my four games I'm really into. There's like bits and pieces from others that I like, but Boston, Cleveland, even with the low total, there's just so many undervalued, getting major boosted minutes. Both teams extremely shorthanded situations. And then those last three, Chicago, Minnesota, New Orleans, Dallas, and Washington, Portland, are just like so far above these other games, in my opinion, that, it's just like hope that the field is impatient and plays all these guys from these other games and, isn't too heavily invested in the late ones, because that's where the money's at. You're muted.
All right, let's break this bitch up into some tiers, Pauly. I know you had said that the mid tier is really where you're looking towards. Maybe take one of those value plays, not necessarily those two, but just take one value play and kind of match it up with a bunch of mid tier and get one stud. I'm with that. That sounds like a good strategy to me. But in the meantime, talk to me about the studs that you are looking to play. Obviously, Luka's going to be very expensive, but we have a lot of really good ones on here. Damian Lillard is back, though we don't know how they're going to play him. Talk to me about some of the studs you like.
Yeah, so Jason Tatum's probably my favorite stud. I mean, 10K is a little rough, especially when you think about Jason Tatum, but the usage has certainly earned that price tag. His performance has certainly earned that price tag, and like, this is just his optimal situation. Like, he may have a 55, 60% usage today. Like, you don't see that very often, but he truly may with like what else they're running out there. And it's Cleveland, like, with most of their good players out, Tristan Thompson, Andre Drummond, Garland. So I just don't see them really stopping him. I see him taking a million shots. People are starting to make whispers about him in the MVP race. So I think, he just kind of goes for it, tries to win this game on the road for the Celtics. I doubt that they get blown out. So I think it ends up being pretty close, which usually is the case when teams are shorthanded, when both teams are shorthanded. So, he's my favorite spend up on the slate at 9.9. I think he goes for like 60 plus today. I really like Giannis at 11.4 against Indiana. Like, it's not the optimal like pace or any of that shit, but I mean, we just saw what this guy's capable of, 40-20s, and I think Harden kind of woke the beast a little bit, and I think Indiana's, this is their last time seeing Milwaukee before the playoffs. It's a 2-1 season series. I think they'd really like to tie this up going into the playoffs before they, in case they meet them. And I think this game will be close, in which case Giannis probably goes, closer to like the 35-minute mark and pushes for like 65 or more DraftKings points at probably some lower ownership, with everyone running to Tatum and Doncic and, I don't know who else. I'm cool with Brad Beal. Don't love the back-to-back, the brutality of his schedule on the road, but I wouldn't want to just not play him at all with how well he's been doing. He still leads the NBA in usage since the All-Star break. I don't want to be late on Dame Lillard. I'd love to play him. I'll probably get like 5% out of respect to him being the GOAT, but I'd be really surprised to see him just go nuts in his first game back. I mean, he hasn't been out all that long, so they don't need to like baby him at all, but he's an outside shooter. It's like, that those are things that like need to be in rhythm, and he's definitely not in that right now. And then I like D'Angelo Russell I like Bam Adebayo against Orlando and Zion against Dallas, cutting it off at 8. So, like, Giannis, Tatum, Luka on the high end, and then I don't mind someone like that mid-upper tier, D'Angelo Russell, Bam Adebayo, and Zion.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Talk to me about the mid tier. I agree with you. There's a lot of loaded options. I mean, the Cleveland team alone, certainly viable in this particular situation. But talk to me more about the mid tier.
Yeah, so hold on, let me just isolate this. I'm gonna go 5 to 8 skis. Where is my boy? Oh, Colin Sexton is my favorite play in the mid tier today. 6'6". The guy has gone for 40 plus in 3 of his last 5. No Garland, no Thompson, no Drummond, nothing on Boston that should remotely get in his way. This should be a very fast transition type game, and he's just going to have huge usage, huge shot attempts, and even if those don't fall, he can get to the rack, get fouled. I like him quite a bit. He's going to be probably one of my highest owned players on the slate. Kevin Porter Jr. from the same team, I'm very cool with. Kevin Love, same team. They're just very, very shorthanded. Really like Shabazz Napier down at 5K. Maybe want to talk about him in value, but TJ Warren, I'm very cool with. Karis LeVert, I don't know what happened to his price at 7.2. The guy's just, stealing Spencer Dinwiddie's number 1 role on that team and taking all the shots down the stretch. Memphis, a team that doesn't play very good defense against guards. I thought he was going to be like 8,500 today, 72. Like, holy shit, give me some of that. Marcus Smart at 7K, you got to love. I will have a lot of Marcus Smart. Anybody from New Orleans, what a performance by Jrue Holiday yesterday, who I was very overweight on, just been on the Holiday train, but him, Lonzo, Brandon Ingram, all those guys are certainly viable. Julius Randle at 7.7, now that Mitchell Robinson is out, is certainly viable. My research really pointed me to Danilo Gallinari. Like, my eyes aren't really agreeing with that research, but he's somebody in the mid-tier that I'm going to, get some exposure to because I like to just believe in the research. Malik Beasley, like him a ton at 6K. Everybody really from Minnesota. Malik Beasley, Hernan Gomez. Naz Reid is in an absolute smash spot. Elf Payton from the Knicks, I think, is certainly viable today. Who else? Brooks from Memphis. He popped in my research. Larry Nance Jr., now that Thompson's out at 6,500 against Boston, who struggles versus bigs. I think he's just going to go back to him again. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. OKC should really coast against Detroit. And in those kind of games, Shai Gilgeous and what's his name? Schroeder, they really correlate well in those kind of situations. Thomas Satoransky, 5,800 from the Bulls, as well as Kobe White from the Bulls I'm really into. Davis Bertans, Rui Hachimura. The slate's loaded. I'm going to cut it there, but those are some of the faves.
Now I'm curious to hear about the value and how much of each. Obviously, I know you were hoping Mitch Robinson was going to get ruled out because you had an eye on Bobby Portis. Obviously, Taj Gibson is still there. Maybe he sees an uptick. There's only 48 minutes to split at center. They could see Randall play a little bit at the 5 if need be. Talk to me about him. Talk to me about some of the other value that you're higher on, and of course, make your determinations on Wagner and Wanamaker, who are going to be the 2 most, I would assume, highest owned players on the slate.
Yeah, so Wagner and Wanamaker specifically, I'm really not into. Like, I'll have a little just in case they go ham and you don't want to be sitting there with your D and your H and they go for 40. But, like, they're just not guys that are going to go for 40 all that often. And, with Wagner, I'm not even sure he's going to get a ton of minutes. And he could get into foul trouble. They could go small. Like, there's a lot of paths to him not getting there. Yes, he's cheap. Yes, he's a good fantasy point per minute player. But on a slate like this, like, you're going to need 7x or better from your value plays. And, like, I feel good about him getting you 6x, 6.5, maybe even just to that 7 mark. But I think there's plays out there, maybe not so obvious, that will just get you better or locked into more minutes. And Wanamaker, I'm a little friendlier towards. Like, Wagner, I'm probably going to have like 15 to 20% of, like, way under the field. I am not really into it. I'm very comfortable just fading the chalk. I think that's bad chalk. I'm just not into it. Wanamaker, like, I just think there's a path or likelihood of him playing 30 minutes. And, like, that many minutes against Cleveland at his price, hard to see him not paying off. So, like, him, I'm a bit more into, but I like other value plays better. You touched on Shabazz Napier in a revenge spot with no Ish Smith and no Bryant. Like, there's usage to go around. Naz Reid's technically 5-1, but he's in a smash spot. He just did it yesterday, and I don't see him getting into foul trouble today, so I like that. Denzel Valentine, I was pretty high on last night. Some of the Bulls news on Otto Porter up to 22, Lauri Markkanen playing has made me pull me back a tick, but I prefer him over Wanamaker and Wagner, even for a couple cents more. Like, we know what his ceiling is, and his usage has been awesome when he does get the minutes. Jerome Robinson of Washington, I think, is in line for a lot of minutes today, right? This kid was on the Clippers, and, like, in the summer league, he's performed. I think he's going to just get that Ish Smith role, which was the former Jordan McRae role, which, like, anytime we knew those guys were going to get minutes, we played those guys, and no one's going to be on him. Seti Osman, I hate that guy, but he's really cheap. He's in line for a lot of minutes, especially now that Thompson's out. I think that's something you shouldn't ignore. Necktat from Minnesota, especially if you're getting a lot of Naz Reid, smart to hedge with some Necktat. Trevor Ariza seems like a guy no one's going to play. I don't mind. I like Jordan Clarkson versus the Knicks. DJ Augustine now getting around 20 minutes, 3,100. Like, this is a guy we were playing for like 5,500 and more when he was starting earlier this year. Enes Kanter at 3,500. I don't like that Robert Williams is back, although I don't know how much they'd be willing to play him on a back-to-back, and they really have never shown us any real, like, propensity to play him any real minutes anyway. But, Enes Kanter, I think, is worth a dart throw. Maybe they're just like, there's nobody else, so he may get forced into 20, 25 minutes. And he should absolutely crush if that's the case. He played 16 yesterday, and they had way more bodies yesterday. So I'd be willing to take shots on Enes Kanter. Nicolo Melli from New Orleans I'm into. No Redick. I think he's just locked into, like, that outside shooter's role. Josh Okogie from Minnesota I'm into. 4,300 against a turnover-prone Chicago Bulls. There's a lot out there, but those are amongst my favorites. Oh, and you kind of just mentioned it, but Bobby Portis is probably my favorite value play on the slate.
How confident? I agree with you on the Mo Wagner take. Like, so Wagner doesn't have to get the minutes. They could play Bertans or Hachimura down there if they wanted to. I don't think it's going to be that big of a difference between defensively from not having Mo Wags. They've got Ian Mahinmi and that Pajinkas guy, so there's bodies there that they could simply just play, right? Wanamaker, I agree with. They just don't have the bodies. Yep. Like, they're just missing people. So I'm a little more comfortable with him.
Yeah.
Bobby Portis, talk to me about him, man, because I'm very tempted to take a heavy stance on him. I'm looking at projections and minutes for a couple different sources, and I'm seeing one site has him at like 22.5, even with Mitch Robinson out. One site has him at about 24. How many minutes realistically do you think Bobby Portis plays? I don't expect him to start. I expect Taj Gibson to start because that's what they usually do. But I do expect, him to get some run at center. But exactly how much more than Taj does he get to play?
I would say he's going to play about 27 to 30 minutes today. What Mitchell Robinson's been getting, right? Like, that's the role he's going to fill. You're right. He's probably not going to start, but he's definitely going to, be in there down the stretch, going to be on the court more than normal. Mitch Robinson was playing 29, 32, 30. That's what he's going to play today.
If that's the case, I'm pretty comfortable with that. I hope so. I really hope so, because that could be a big differentiator. And we were talking before we started the second part of the show, in terms of what Bobby Portis has done against Utah. This is actually a team he's had a lot of success against. The last 2 times he has played them, one was last year, he went for 65, and then one was this year, January 8th, not too long ago, he went for 40 DraftKings points, which would be 10x today. So I like that call there. So then, obviously you haven't ran your teams yet, but at this point, how comfortable how comfortable of a stance would you be willing to take on Bobby Portis?
40 to 50, I think. It's a big slate, and it's still a risk. Yeah, this is a way to get sneaky with ownership, but they do still have Randall, right? They got Taj, and it's the Knicks. There's no promises with anything, but they've already been liking what he's been doing. The new coach, his minutes were on the rise. He closed a couple games when we thought Randall would be out there, and they played him, so they're already liking him. And this is just they've been playing better. They're trying to win. I think you'll just see him just move right into the Mitch Robinson role, likely close. Utah hasn't been great. I think that the Knicks are going to keep it close. They've been playing well. And the reason I think Bobby Portis does well is because Gobert can't really chase him outside. And I would guarantee you, if you look at those games, he has good numbers shooting outside and hit a bunch of threes. And that's why he kind of took off. I kind of expect the same today. They could really leave Randall inside and let him go out, and Gobert's not going to follow him out there.
Fair enough. All right, so tell me this. Tell me who are the value plays. Brandon Knight will start, just to make that clear. Tell me what value plays Christian Wood also will start, so he's officially in. What are the value plays that you're willing to have the most exposure to today? I'm assuming Portis and Wanamaker make that list, but how high up are they up that list? Where do guys like Cedi Osman rank? What do you think? I know we talked about the value you're interested in, but now I'm curious as to how you would rank them as of now.
Okay. Portis, Wanamaker, Shabazz Napier are up there amongst some of my favorite. Let me think about this. Naz Reid's 51, but I'm just going to call him, value. He's another guy I'm willing to get 35% or more of. Kevin Porter's 53. He's another guy I'm willing to get a lot of. If Brandon Knight's going to start, I'm comfortable getting a bunch of him, even though his price is starting to tick up to the spot I'm not really that thrilled about. Denzel Valentine would probably be next at that 3,800 price, especially if he's still in the starting lineup. We'll have to wait to see. If he's not starting, then I would come off of Denzel Valentine significantly. If he's still starting, I'm willing to get 30% or more. If he's not, then I'm not. Those are kind of the main ones for me. And again, that's why I'm not really into the stars and scrubs build, because I don't really like the value that much.
I don't disagree. I don't feel all that comfortable with the value. And even if I did, I don't feel comfortable on which one over the other. You know what I mean? I dislike this guy just as much as I dislike this guy. It's just kind of those situations. But I'm glad to see Brandon Knight is starting. Hopefully get us some spread out exposures there. Osman, man, he's the one that bro, if you look at Cleveland's minutes in that last game, man, the minutes that those guys played against, I think it was Utah, Colin Sexton played 39.5 minutes. Larry Nance played 39.4 minutes. Kevin Love played 31.9. And in the last 2 minutes, the game got a little ugly there. Kevin Porter Jr. played 40.9. Cedi Osman played 39.5. It's just wild. Dellavedova played 29 minutes. Just wild. They have Dean Wade and Matt Mooney, and they chose to not play those guys except for the last 2 minutes of garbage time rather than, and they decided to just let their guys run. So, it's funny because once I raised the projection on the Cleveland players, it naturally kind of lowered me on Wanamaker, which I'm comfortable with. Right now I'm looking at about 41% Wanamaker. It naturally lowered me on him. And naturally lowered me on. Well, I lowered Wagner's projection, but it kind of did that for me. Like the Cleveland team is kind of forcing me a bit more balanced, which I'm cool with. Yeah, for sure. Cedi Osman, how much are you willing to take of that guy?
Probably I'd be willing to take 40%. There's not many value plays that I like, and like his minutes are the most secure and projecting to be like the highest of the guys in that price range. Yeah. I don't like the guy, but if there's ever a time for him to do well, it's today.
Agreed. Even though I was just telling the nation I can't stand him, but at the end of the day, doesn't mean I'm not going to play him. To be clear, he's playing monster minutes. It's just, and he's 4-1. It's God, I hate him. I hate him. All right, I'll pop in the chat real quick, see if there's any questions while we get these teams ready. Hit that like button if you haven't already, guys. Hit that like button. We're gonna take you up into lock to make sure you have all the news. Arizona Drama says I got a lineup with Luka, Tatum, and Whiteside for later, building around them. Wanamaker 3,600. Oh, okay, he's just giving thoughts. My bad. Thought it was questions. Oh, no, actually, what'd you say? Wanamaker 3,600 on FanDuel scares me because he can bust. He's done it before. I want someone who's guaranteed to play and actually get me points. I feel you.
I think he's guaranteed to play minutes today,
they
but
don't have a
getting
choice.
you the point. Yeah, I don't know.
Getting you the points is the question. Yeah. Celtics lineup is actually out anyway, and Wanamaker is starting at point guard.
Is
Wanamaker, Marcus Smart, Jason Tatum, Grant Williams, Daniel Tice, whatever. Grant Williams. Any thoughts on him? He's 3,100 starting at the 4 today.
Yeah, he's fine. He's been like the rookie to get the most minutes this year for Boston. He's had a few injuries he's dealt with, but like whenever he's been around, like he's the one they've shown the most willingness to play or the most necessity because he's kind of like a big. They've got a ton of guards, Javonte Green, a handful. Can't think of the other guys' names off the top of my head right now, but there's a few of them that are viable. But he's really the only big one that outside of Robert Williams, who's just isn't going to play more than 10, 12 minutes right now. So. Yeah, I'm cool with him.
Sure enough. I keep my hand on my gun because they got me on the run. Juancho from the Wolves or Ariza or Crowder for value at small forward? So Juancho, Ariza, or Crowder for value at small forward? I think it's a FanDuel question. Juancho.
Yeah.
Arizona Drama says hard to pay up on small forwards because I got 3 spend ups, but I narrowed it down to those 3 because I don't want to stack a ton of Cleveland and Boston. Yeah, it's going to be popular. I understand just wanting to be a little bit different. Let's check the Wise stream chat. My dudes, nothing going on really in there. Oh man, Brandon Knight, Christian Wood. Once again, man, my teams just end up looking very different from how they looked earlier. Oh, how do I get off of so much Cedi Osman? This is scary. This is really scary. Who is your favorite Cleveland player? If you had to pick one, I'm assuming you're going to be playing a lot.
By a mile.
Sexton.
By a mile.
Corlin Sexton. I think mine is Kevin Porter, man. I mean, I like Sexton too. I mean, come on, take your pick. But I think it's Kevin Porter for me. Vic. How much Luka do you plan on playing?
Not a ton. He's all right. I prefer Giannis. I prefer Tatum. The field's going to be way overweight on him. I'm thinking like 25, 35, somewhere in there.
Where are you at with Kobe White?
I like him, but he's really got to ball out to, make value at his price. He's not like under 5K anymore. He's 6'2", and like the other Bulls are returning from injury. Like we don't know how that's going to look with Lauri Markkanen. Does Lauri Markkanen have a minute limit?
20, I think.
20.
None of them,
right?
I think.
Otto Porter's got 22.
Yeah, Porter 22, Markkanen 20, and then I think they raised Carter, I think up to 25 maybe, 22 to 25 or something like that. Here's the thing about Kobe White. Even before Zach LaVine got hurt, this man's usage rate since February 22nd, 34.6, 30.9, 30.3, 30.5, 31.2 in the most recent game. He shot 8 for 20 from the field and scored 19 actual points. Just 2 games before that, he took 21 shots and made 13 of them. Obviously, he was very efficient. That was the difference of him scoring 19 actual points or 35 actual points, which was the difference of him scoring 35.5 DraftKings points or 50.75. So I know it's with the matchup the way it is, I just feel like a player getting that much usage, man. I'm tempted to. And listen, I'm looking at about 20% or so right now, and I should be content with that. That's really the answer. I should just be content with the 20% because I feel like I'm going to be over the field anyway. But just you see a player with that much usage, man. It's just so tempting to just like Kobe White. He's his last 6 games.
Oh, Kobe White, yeah.
Games, his usage rate is in the 30s.
Don't you think it's gonna change a little bit?
He was doing that today, even before LaVine got hurt. You know what I mean? Like,
I know. But Markkanen and Wendell Carter Jr. and Otto Porter could take that away from him fast.
Otto Porter could. He definitely could. But he was there. He was there yesterday. I mean, in the last game, Otto Porter was there. Otto Porter played about 18 minutes. So we're only talking about another 4 minutes. And Kobe White, the difference again of him doing what is his thing was efficiency. He just wasn't as efficient. He was 3 for 9 from 3, not 8 for 9. Yeah. I'm with you though. At the end of the day, there's no reason for me to go more than about 20 because he's not projected to be anything significant. So why go? Like I'm already over the field. I feel, So I think that makes sense. I'm comfortable with that. I just needed some reason right quick. A little bit of logic in my life. Man, it's crazy how heavy I am on Cleveland right now. And that's going to be so chalky too, but 7-3-2, what you going to do? That's what we say. Right? Check it out. Osmond or Valentine from James Sanchez.
Do we have the Bulls lineup?
Don't think so. No, they're one of the later games, so hopefully we get it at some point soon.
Honestly, it kills me to say this, but it's probably Osmond. If I'm going to say, I'm nervous about Kobe White, then I'm also nervous about Valentine. Osmond's so secure right now.
Agreed. Drew or D'Lo on FanDuel?
D'Lo.
Favorite small forward? Romel, you and anyone else asking questions about the positions, just please specify which site you're referring to, because sometimes the positions are different. So just specify which site, FanDuel, the DraftKings, Dirty Side, whatever.
I mean, that sounds like a FanDuel question.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm going to take the cop-out route and say Giannis.
Oh, yeah. I when you said cop-out route, I thought you were going to say Tatum. But a FanDuel. Tatum is power forward over there.
Oh, Tatum small forward on FanDuel?
No, I forgot it was a FanDuel question. Yeah, Giannis, I'm with you. Arizona Drama says, now is it bad to have Reed and Juancho, though, in the same lineup? No, I don't think so at all.
No,
nothing to do with the other, right? Romel was talking about FanDuel, so Giannis holds. Appreciate you, Romel. Daniel D, do you guys like Whiteside today?
He's fine, but Lillard's back.
Yeah, Lillard is.
His usage is going to go down.
His usage is going to go down for sure. I like Whiteside for the simple fact that, look at Washington's team. They don't have a single player that can do anything. Forget about usage. We don't need Whiteside to score. He may get 50 rebounds. You know what I'm saying? In a game with a 243 total. He could think about the pace of this. He could literally, and his opponent is on a back-to-back of 4 and 6. I'm anticipating a lot of missed shots. He could literally walk away with maybe not 50, but he could walk away with 25 to 30 rebounds today. It's possible. So, but with that said, I can't rank him over guys that just rank better point per dollar. So I'm gonna have about 10-15%. I do like him. I just trying to be responsible.
Washington has been one of the most stingy defenses against the center in the last month. I don't know why. I can't explain it, but I think it's because they've been going small.
Yeah, that's probably exactly what it is.
DVP centers have not done well against them.
That's probably exact. I mean, let's take a look and see. But I think the last part you said makes the most sense. They played Sacramento last night, right? Alex Len was having his way. Giles was having his way, but they did go small eventually, and they played Bielitsa a lot at the 5 to close the game. They played Golden State, who I guess Marquise Chris. I mean, he's still technically a big. They played Utah. Gobert just hasn't done dick. They played Brooklyn, who doesn't really have a dominant center anymore. They played Milwaukee, who doesn't really have a dominant center. So yeah, you're right. They played Chicago before that. So they just haven't really played a true center, like a true traditional center. That's a good point. I'm glad I looked into that actually. I like that. What are your thoughts on Porzingis today?
He's pricey. Some of that's like, his price is boosted from the performance when Doncic missed. But, I mean, it's the nut opponent, and, he's going to get a ton of usage. So I'm all right with him.
No, I feel you.
Doesn't do much.
Not overly excited about it. I feel you on that.
12 minutes to lock.
12 minutes to lock. Holla. How much Nas Reed you trying to play today, bro?
Like 40%.
Get him. Let me take a look at some of these exposures. Oh, man.
Who's your fourth highest owned Celtic?
My fourth highest owned Celtic. It sounded like a math word problem for a second.
That's how I worded that.
Oof. I don't think Tice. Daniel Tice.
Okay, fifth.
I don't have a fifth. I think I'm really only playing Brad Wanamaker, Jason Tatum. Let me see. I'll tell you right now. I got Jason Tatum, Marcus Smart, Wanamaker, and Tice. That's really it. I don't really have too much else. Where's Grant Williams in this?
I did.
What about you? Did you have a fifth?
No, but I feel like I should be looking at one of those, min-price guards. Like, the one that I'm thinking may get some run, and like I may get 5-10% of his Carson Edwards.
Yeah, because he's genuinely he can actually score fantasy points. Like he can actually do it Dan, and do it big Dan at the same time.
Exactly. Couldn't have said it better.
How could you? That was just perfectly worded. It's just, come on. What are we doing here? Like, I mean, shit. Just like, duh.
How much Marcus Smart are you playing?
I only have 11% right now, and it's funny you say that because I'm trying to change that and get a little bit more. Like to be so vested in that game and not have the other guy who has massive, like usage. It just seems like not ideal. I'm not looking to get like a crazy ownership on or anything, but I do think I want a little bit more than 11% if I'm going to have so much of the Cleveland side, and I'm looking at a lot of Tatum as well. So, what about you? Where does he rank for you?
Marcus Smart or Tatum?
Smart.
He'll be like in my top 10 and probably like between 30 and 40%.
Holler.
Playing any Zizic?
As of right now, no. As of right now, no. But I wouldn't be surprised if that bit me in the ass at some point. Know what I mean?
Yeah.
Straight jelly beans. You know what I'm saying?
He used to be like awesome.
Yeah.
We haven't seen that.
There was a time. We are 9 minutes away from Lock Nation. I'm about to see if I can get some teams built right quick. Try to do that upload thing. And then I'm going to wait for some news to break out to screw me over with the rest of you. So give me a sec here while we generate some teams and things. 200 teams is going to take a little while. Oh, yeah. Yep. Oh, guns out, funds out. Did you hear that shit? You hear that?
Yeah.
That was him. Yeah. That was Patches.
Get him, Patches.
I don't know what that was. He was sleeping, dead asleep. Just like for a second, just woke up to do that. He just woke up. He just woke up to just do that. Woke up and just said, he's here. He wanted everybody to know he's here.
That's thug life.
That is thug life. That's the life. Yeah, now I'm getting a lot more vested. It looks like I'm getting like 33% of Tatum. What makes me uncomfortable is right now, Cedi Osman is my highest owned value, like genuine value player. That makes me so uncomfortable. But again, I agree with you. And I said this to the nation. I can't stand a guy. But at the end of the day, they don't have the bodies. They don't have a choice. If Osman doesn't get into foul trouble, and that's a big if. Like, who do you think covers Tatum today?
Osman.
That's dangerous. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's like,
yeah.
That is dangerous. Oh, that bothers me so much. I so desperately want to like raise Bobby Portis even more, just to but I'm not. It would just be irresponsible again. So I get reckless sometimes in these situations, man. And I try to let that shit go. That's what I gotta do. I gotta let some of that shit go. This is the situation you're in. This is what you signed up for. So you're playing a shit ton of this guy you can't stand. And he played 39 minutes against Utah, went for 25, but he took 14 shots, so he had opportunity. He had every opportunity. But we're doing it. This is my life. How much Portis are you ended up with now that you've ran? I'm only getting about 30% at this point. I did lower his minutes a little bit, but I'm only getting around 30% now.
I have 55.
Damn. How much Osman you got? 60?
No, 40. 41.
Mm-hmm. So who's your highest owned player at the moment?
Bobby Portis. Oh, no, Giannis. I have 62 Giannis.
Giannis, the Greek freak. Greek freak. Slipping on them sheets, you know. Oh, boy.
Where are you at with Shabazz Napes?
I got a lot of Napes. I got like 65% Napes right now.
Holy shit. Is he your highest owned player?
No, Kevin Porter Jr. is at about 70. And then Osman. Now you can see my dilemma.
Mm-hmm.
You can see the situation. I got about 24 Porzingis. I got some Knight. Got some Sabonis. These are all like minuscule players that I don't have a ton of. Just like small little exposures to. Oh, dear. All right. Whiteside. Holla at a player when you see him in the streets. Holla at a player when you see him in the streets. All right. Let's see what I gotta do. What I gotta do. We got 6 minutes to lock, nation. Make sure you get your situation situated so you're not left with the D and the H. I guess we can just say hand with the D in the hand. When it's that time. How much Wanamaker you got?
45.
This is funny. I'm like 47. I was getting the same. Which was cool. I thought I was gonna have to like lower him or do something. And I don't like to do that. Like if I think a guy's gonna play this much, I want to leave it there. But again, by just raising the Cleveland guys to where they should be, it kind of naturally did its thing for me. And it kind of made me a little bit more balanced and a little less dependent on value. So I'm with it. I'm different. Yeah, I'm different. Classic. 26. 5 minutes to lock, nation. All right, this is my last little build ski, and then I got to do some uploading because I know for a fact that 200 teams is going to take me a minute. It's going to take me a minute to do. So give me what I want, you dirty back bitch. Dirty back bitch. Dirty back bitch. It's the next song, man. Motherfuckers better not try to steal that shit. Coming out with my label. Put that on the album next month. Headline, dirty back bitch. You know what I mean? Trademark that shit. So how much Colin Sexton do you have? I know you mentioned he was your favorite Cavalier.
55.
Yeah, I'm about 50% on him. I'm about 50. You know, 50, like tick bitties, you know.
Yep. For sure.
Oh, yeah. I think there's only one game that locks early, too. It's the Pacer game.
Yeah, it's Boston.
Oh, no, right? I'm sorry. No,
it's the Pacer game?
Wrong. It's 3 games that lock early. Boston, OKC, Detroit, and Indiana, Milwaukee all lock early. They all have the early lock. Oh, dear. 4 minutes to lock. 4 minutes to lock, nation. if Bobby Portis can do the dirty for us today, I would be very grateful.
Me too.
Grateful. Big time. Big time. Big time. So many minutes. 3 minutes to lock. I'm almost there. I got 50 teams in the $4. It's so funny because I got 50 teams in the $4 and then I got 150 in the 70 and the 50 cent. And it's like, just imagine, like, obviously you can't look at it in this way in reality, but imagine like winning the 50 cent today and like having a score that could have won the, you know what I'm saying? Just imagine how shitty that would feel. On the other side, realistically, say it was my 160th team that got there. I can't be that upset because I would have never had that team in the $4, even if I did 150 in the $4, because I can only do 150. So that's one way to look at it. but just imagine that, right? Like, crazy. Oh shit, we are 2 minutes to lock. 2 minutes to lock. Is that right? This thing is still building my teams. Feeling it hard. Long and hard. One minute. Oh no, almost. I knew it. Now there's 1 minute to lock, nation. Doing this dirty style right now. I'm gonna barely get this shit up there. Oh man, my heart was racing on that one. Shit. Whew. That was scary as fuck, man. When I said 2 minutes, I looked and it was only on like 170 teams out of 200, and I was like, oh shit. It took me like 4 minutes to build 170 teams. How long is it gonna take me to get the rest? I got nervous as hell for a second there. Whew. Okay. All right. At least now when I lose, it'll be the right way. You know what I mean? And Pauly just dipped. He said, fuck it. He couldn't take the last minute. He couldn't sweat the last minute out with us. I don't blame him. It's scary. I have a lot of Kevin Porter, a lot of Cedi Osman. Makes me very uncomfortable. We are at Lock Nation. That is going to do it. Appreciate those of you who've been rocking with us. Wild Slate, we'll be back at it tomorrow. I'm just grateful that I was able to get my teams in at this point because it came so close. If we didn't get a chance to answer your questions, I apologize. Things just got a little crazy there at the end. But I appreciate all of y'all. Hit the like button if you can. We're going to get out of here, and we are going to do the dirty to the neighbor. For myself, the entire WiseTake Nation will catch y'all tomorrow. And as always, good luck. Tyus Jones from Nick? Yeah, I think he does. He got it last time. I think he gets it again. Good luck.